So what makes for a good working relationship with an author?
Um, get rid of the ego. Realize that I'm on your team. I have no motivation for the book to fail. I only want it to succeed because I'm backing it with my reputation.
Mhm.
So, and I've read enough books that I know things that won't work. My students would like to say, but writing is art, it's subjective. Um, you know, then I would give you all A's. There is good writing and there is bad writing. It is much more like math and science than if an author can understand that well and be really willing to cut that umbilical cord, because the book is very oftentimes their baby, and we will waste time because authors always come around. I've worked with authors who they're fighting me. They're fighting me on changes. So I'm like, okay, it's your book. And then 2, 3 months into the process, they're like, the light bulb goes off and they're like, well, go back and let's redo all those changes I deleted of yours. You just
Say,
wasted three
right.
months and I'm always trying to make things very efficient and budget friendly for authors, and not waste their time. So if they can kind of surrender at the beginning of the process, that's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
And know how to use Word, know how to use track changes before going into it. Um, that's
Yeah.
super important to be comfortable with the software as well, as boring as that sounds.
Yeah. No, it's super efficient if you know how to work with it. I agree.
Yes.
Any horror stories, anonymous, of course, that you could share?
Well, I think that's kind of what I just touched on with the technical issue, because very often I'll get an author who says, oh, yeah, I know how to use Microsoft Word. I'm ready to go. And they keep editing their manuscript in Google Docs. And of course, all the formatting gets messed up and they're not on the
Um,
same page, literally and figuratively anymore. And they'll get really stressed out and overwhelmed. And all of that could have been prevented if they'd been honest and said, I don't know how to do this. And I'd say, okay, well, here's some awesome YouTube videos. Um, let's do a practice draft with one of your chapters. Let's pull it out of the book and play with it a little so you actually get to manipulate it and use that software. So it's really the biggest disasters have been the ones where um, I can't say I've ever had an author walk away. The authors continue through the process with me and are always thrilled at the end. But sometimes they could have had much less of a headache, and I could have had much less of a headache if they came into it having read up a little bit on very basic kind of technical stuff they will
yeah.
need to know, but also very basic things that all books need in them, like point of view is so important. It's one of the things I focus on the most. So if you've given me your novel and the point of view is all over the place and we're just head jumping and disconcerted through the whole book, I'll often say, hey, you need to work with this another few months and read about point of
Mhm.
view and maybe just read a few books. Probably to answer kind of the final part of your question, the biggest disaster is getting an author that really hasn't read a lot, but they've decided to write a book and they don't understand point of view or the intuition behind some very basic things. So
Yeah.
I can very easily weed that out in my private clients and say, you're not ready. But when I'm handed an assignment, I don't always know as much about the book when a publisher hands it to me. And sometimes I'm very surprised that I'm not prepared because I wasn't told how much there is to do.
Yeah.